there. It's good to see you again. Anything I can do for you? Not much to report. I've been in a holding pattern since we took down Marco Graziani's smuggling ring. I hear you've been busy, though. The other Rangers can't say enough nice things about your work. Congrats on making a name for yourself. Oh, that's why you're here. The Marshal told me you might ask about that. I've been twiddling my thumbs since we took down that smuggling ring, and he knows I get antsy if I'm not working. I've never worked on a crew before, but it sounds better than sitting around at the Rock. What do you say? Think I'd be a good fit? No, not really. The Marshal okayed me taking the job, which makes it official Ranger business. Besides, it's been a long time since I got the chance to travel. A hard-blooded gal like me? I sure can. You won't find a better shot in Aquila City, for one thing. I also know a lot about the ecosystems of the planets and moons in the area. I'm sort of a hobbyist when it comes to biology. So you can count on me to keep you from eating anything poisonous, okay? That's all I needed to hear. I'm ready for my first assignment. Leave it to me, Deputy. Make your way. I'm ready to hop back on the ship whenever you need me. You want to get to know me better. Okay. I'd like that too. It's kind of a funny story. My name's what inspired me. When I was a kid, I once asked my mom if trees changed color in the autumn because of magic. She bought me a book and told me to figure it out. I learned about photosynthesis and how leaves change color in the autumn because there's less light. It taught me that biology can be just as astounding as magic. I've been hooked on studying the natural world ever since. I was 10. Way too young to understand all the scientific terms in the book my mom gave me. Definitely a ranger. Studying biology is just a hobby. Being a Freestar Ranger is my calling. I wouldn't trade my badge for all the stars in the galaxy. Aw, thanks, Deputy. I'll pass that on next time I write to her. I once put an untrained deputy in the cockpit of a starship before he was ready. His ship was shot down and he lost both of his legs in the crash. His only chance at walking again is an experimental treatment they do at the clinic. But it's a risky procedure, and the success rate isn't high. It's awful to know that my mistake cost him so much. He was the first deputy I ever trained, and I feel like I ruined his life. The Crimson Fleet. The day Landon was hurt, I'd spotted one of their ships hovering over Aquila. I sent him up there solo to check it out. They blasted him out of the sky almost as soon as he took off. His legs got pinned in the wreckage. By the time they got him out, it was too late to save them. His name's Landon. He lives in Midtown with his folks. Started training with us straight out of school. He was one of the best trainees I've ever seen. He would have made a fantastic ranger. I hope so. The Rangers are paying to fly him out there for the procedure in a few weeks. If everything goes well, this'll all be over soon. Keep your fingers crossed for him, will ya? Yep, ever since I was a kid. I've always known I wanted to do a job that made the space lane safer, and becoming a Freestar Ranger seemed like a natural fit. I sure have. It's a real pleasure to keep my home system safe. And I like that I get to travel for work, too. It's given me a chance to study the ecosystems of most of the planets near Aquila. I wouldn't have stuck around if I didn't. I like to think that Freestar space is a little safer for your average traveler because of me. Well, you're gonna make me blush, Deputy. Thanks for saying that. I'm not perfect, though. I've made some mistakes that have gotten people hurt. But I've always tried to do right by the Freestar Collective. Nah, I'm a ship rat. My parents were traveling merchants. They raised my siblings and I in the space lanes. Aquila was sort of their home base, though. We stop by every few weeks to resupply. I think of it as my hometown, especially now that I'm a ranger. Most of my siblings ended up settling down there, too. Well, everyone except my sister, Jade. She's still, you know, doing the smuggling thing. Yeah, they are. Jade and I aren't the only ones with names inspired by the natural world. My other siblings are Blossom and Shale. Personally, I think it's a sweet tradition. Blossom and Shale have always loved their names, but the whole thing never sat right with Jade. That's just like her, though. She always wanted to stand out. Yeah, I'd like to. But that's a long ways off. Plenty to do before I settle down and start a family. I'm glad you don't think it's weird. Some people do. No, not anymore. They retired to Aquila City a few years ago and passed on the business to Jade. I think they hoped the responsibility would be good for her. Joke's on them, I guess. I have 3. My brother Shale and my sister Blossom both live in Aquila City. Shale works at the Laredo factory, and Blossom's a nurse. And then there's Jade, of course. You met her at Red Mile. Oh, yeah. For a kid interested in biology, growing up on a ship was a total dream. I got to see new plants and creatures all the time. It's complicated between Jade and I. She's a smuggler, which makes my job as a ranger that much more difficult. It's complicated between Jade and I. She's a smuggler, which makes my job as a ranger that much more difficult. She inherited our parents' trading business when they retired and turned it into a smuggling operation. I can't tell you how many times I've thought about reporting her, but I can't quite bring myself to do it. We are, despite our differences. She's made some bad choices, but I still love her. We still try to see each other as often as we can. She even made a point to come to my induction ceremony when I became a ranger. That meant the world to me. Not really. I don't think most of them would understand that I can be loyal to her and to the Rangers at the same time. I still wrestle with that myself, to be honest. Jade's the oldest, and our parents thought the responsibility would be good for her. They had no idea she was going to become a smuggler. It broke our poor mom's heart. That's what I've been thinking too. Family's important to me. It doesn't seem worth it to report her just for the sake of my honor. What's on your mind? Oh, has it been bugging you? I don't mean any harm. It's just a nickname. It reminds me of the first time we met, when you were just a newbie. Go ahead. Do your worst. I grew up with 3 siblings. Whatever you come up with, I'm sure I've heard it before. Hey, have you been talking to my siblings behind my back? That sounds just like something my brother Shale would say. Nice talking with you, Deputy.